So, good evening once again. Today we're gonna start yet with another Shimano series of defected brake calipers, and this case is also very common. The previous cases that we shown is the problem of there is no protection of the inner area. Even this area, which is still exposed while it's assembled together, you can see this edge in here is exposed to the environmental conditions, so all the acids, salts, and everything else, it can affect and corrode this area and expose the porosity, and it could go down under the seal part, and it will erode even the most important surface, which is this one inside. But in here, what I try to show you, we lose a little bit of focus like that, is the problem during manufacturing of the sealing groove, is that while the tools, or let's say the cutting tool, is the milling tool, and this milling tool, of course, it is smaller diameter. You can see in here it's probably feet 10 or maybe feet 12, I don't know, and they go inside in here and they go around. The problem is if the tool is wearing out, so the coordinates according to this manufacturing process, I would say the milling tool goes from 0 degrees to 360. It doesn't go to 361 or 362, that it would go over the 0. So what happens? It happens that it stops somewhere, and if the tool is worn out a little bit, it will leave a chip, and in here you can see it's the chip inside. With the wooden stick, you cannot circle around this area. It stops. In here it stops. The problem is we can see this per year, at least 40 to 50 cases in our hands, cases like this. And the problem is that this bike from which this was taken off is basically new. You can see this chip is in here when you have this dark line. What is the height of this chip? I don't know. Later on I will show you on the paper how this thing is actually causing the leakage. Another case, and the problem of this caliper is also that when people see this, they start changing pistons. You see, this is the chip. This is the chip. This is the material that was not removed. So when the seal is inserted inside, the seal is lifted up at this place. So you have a small gap where the oil under heavy pressure can go out and start wetting the back plate of the brake pads, and eventually it can leak down to the rotor itself as well, and it contaminate the brake pads. And this is very, very frequent. You see, it stops in here. It stops. It doesn't go. You need to push that you can go through. In here, you see, it stops and then goes. The problem, what you can do, people who normally will change at official services, they will changing pistons, they will changing seals, because they think it's the problem in there. But the case that it would be a problem in seal in itself, at least if it would be very, very old, 10 years maybe, and already degraded, or the pistons, which doesn't have any damage at all. This bike was new, was not abused, and from the new one, it always had a problem on the brakes. What we can do in this case, the cheapest one is that we put elastic glue inside this groove, and we insert the seal inside, and that will temporarily solve the problem. But depends on how much you will overheating the brake, when that glue will start to melt, and the pressure will start to forcing glue out of these gaps. Another thing is that we machine bigger hole, 0.1 diameter increment. We do fix the groove in here, but the problem is that the manufacturing of this is quite it's much more expensive than if you just glue it inside. Otherwise, you need to claim reclamation if the bike is still within the guarantee terms, because this is obviously defected caliper, and this is not the only one. We just put it on the YouTube now because people and customers said that it would be nice to see if there is any other case from the world that they will publish something like this either. So now we can, the same case is on this side, and it's always on the opposite direction, which means that because these two things are placed inside the holder at the machine center, and it's in here. It sticks. Will we get the focus of the camera? Maybe not. It's on the opposite direction. Before was in here, because these calipers are positioned in opposite direction when milling, something like this. Now, in here we can see what's the case. So this is the cross section, and this is the groove which is made for the seal. So now you can see if the tool, which is, let's say, diameter of like this, it goes around from 0, it's milling, it comes in here. And now if the tool is worn out during the series of production, it will leave some kind of bump. Actually, it's a small chip. Because we in the past we cut this on half, and we saw it's kind of triangular shape, like a pyramid with the radius. So it means it's like this. So it means it's like the trace of the tool. So now you can see when this is zoomed in, when the seal is sitting down, it's lifted up on this chip, and then you have this blue area. This is where the oil under heavy pressure can go through and start lifting up or pushing the seal on the sidewalls, and the oil will start to leaking out slowly. Now you have cases where this is happening, the leakage, let's say, it could take 2 months to totally empty the system, so the brake lever will come towards your handlebar. It can be in 1 week, it can be in half a year, depends on how big, or not only how big this chip is, but also how much you are using and abusing the brake. Someone who is really doing a mountain bike cross country, rolling hills and always braking, it could be the case in 1 week that he will have empty hydraulic system. But before that, normally the brakes doesn't have any effect on braking anymore, because you have wet rotor, and the rotor contaminates the brake pads, and then you have a squeaking noisy discs, and of course people are changing, cleaning, filling the oil, and it's never better. It's always the same or even worse. So another thing is that these series are normally coming from Malaysia, made in Malaysia. We had seen some from Vietnam as well. Now some have made in Indonesia. Those are among the best. We found at least cases which were made in Indonesia, but we never saw any kind of case made in Japan. And it literally shows that on the different continents, they have different manufacturing quality check issues. Because while I was working in automotive industry, in die casting industry, we had some similar products which were made for Volkswagen, piston cap covers for hydraulic clutch for four-wheel drive cars. And there was also a problem of porosity on this sealing compartment chip. Also, we had to do visual inspection. Every 20 or 30 pieces we had to take out sample and had a visual inspection. And if we saw something like this, we throw this away. We check every 30 pieces back if when this error start to happen, and you see it's stuck. In here we can see this chip. This is in here. And we had to put the correction on the CNC machines to change the tolerances so that this chip was not occurring again. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you get some useful information. So see you soon. Bye.